Hello students, I am Dr. Amit Bhatnagar, working as Senior Research Officer in the Department of Agronomy at GB Pant, University of Agriculture and Technology, Pantnagar, Uttarakhand. In this lecture, I will tell you about the provision of nitrogenous fertilizer in organic farming. Why we do not use nitrogenous fertilizer in organic farming. In organic farming, synthetic compounds are not allowed. Any manufactured compound which is produced in factory or synthetic is not used. That's why fertilizers are not used in organic farming. But some fertilizers, can be used. For example, micronutrients fertilizer can be used with the restrictions. So there are some restricted use for the micronutrients and the other minerals. But in case of nitrogen, none fertilizer is allowed. तो जो ऑर्गेनिक फार्मिंग करते हैं उसमें सिंथेटिक को हम यूज़ नहीं करते हैं, किसी भी फर्टिलाइजर यूज़ नहीं करते, लेकिन माइक्रोन्यूट्रिएंट्स को या पोटेशियम के कुछ मिनरल्स को, फास्फेट के मिनरल्स को यूज़ कर सकते हैं. बट इन केस ऑफ नाइट्रोजन कोई भी नाइट्रोजन फर्टिलाइजर यूज़ नहीं किया जाता. व्हाट इज़ द रीज़न दैट नाइट्रोजन फर्टिलाइजर्स आर टोटली बैंड और वी कैन से टोटली प्रोहिबिटेड. So there is a provision of nitrogen fertilizer, but in case of potassium we can use some minerals like sylvinite, like kainite, and in case of phosphorus, rock phosphate, natural minerals are used, and in case of micronutrients, sulfates, carbonates, oxides, and silicates of zinc, copper, manganese, iron, boron, molybdenum, all these are used, but with the restriction. Restrictions means they are used with a limited quantity, with specific to the conditions and the method to applications. तो restricted use होता है माइक्रोन्यूट्रिएंट्स का, मिनरल्स का, कि कौन सी कंडीशन है उसके साथ रेस्ट्रिक्टेड है और मेथड के साथ रेस्ट्रिक्शंस हैं. बट इन केस ऑफ नाइट्रोजन फर्टिलाइजर देयर इज नो रेस्ट्रिक्टेड यूज, टोटली बैंड. सो व्हाट इज द रीजन दैट नाइट्रोजन फर्टिलाइजर्स आर टोटली बैंड, और वी कैन से टोटल प्रोविजन नॉट अलाउड. एक्चुअली द थीम और द कंसेप्ट ऑफ द ऑर्गेनिक फार्मिंग इज द quality food, healthy food, without contamination, without pollution, environment sustainability. That's why we give emphasis on 4 principles: principle of health, principle of ecology, principle of fair, and principle of care. So if there is a violation of these principles, then there is no meaning of organic farming. तो हम ऑर्गेनिक फार्मिंग क्यों करते हैं? हम ऑर्गेनिक फार्मिंग हेल्थ के लिए कर रहे हैं, इकोलॉजी हमारी मेंटेन रहे, सस्टेनेबिलिटी रहे, फ्यूचर हमारा सिक्योर रहे, रिसोर्सेज का डिग्रेडेशन ऑफ. दैट्स वाई वी प्रैक्टिस ऑर्गेनिक फार्मिंग. If we adopt any technique, any method, any compound which is against the principles, then we do not allow this chemical or synthetic fertilizers. So when we use any fertilizer or any compound, we have to consider, number one, there is no contamination. No contamination or pollution. If it create the contamination or pollution, then it is not allowed. Then it should not cause the no nutrient imbalance. If there is a nutrient imbalance, then it is not allowed. Suppose we are using the highly soluble potassium fertilizer, highly soluble, and it creates the imbalance, then it is not allowed. We are using the highly soluble nitrogen fertilizer, it creates the imbalance. So there should be nutrient imbalance, no nutrient imbalance. Okay. And third one is no degradation of the natural resources, no degradation of natural resources, and natural resources are land, water, climate, and the vegetation. These are the important. Land, we can say soil, these are the natural resources. Water, climate, and the vegetation also is natural resource, or we can say biome, vegetation, or biodiversity. We can say it is biodiversity. It include all the things, means plant species, animal, microbes. So any material which has contamination or pollution, has a nutrient imbalance or cause a degradation of natural resource, then it is not allowed. And in case of fertilizers, this nitrogenous fertilizer, all these occurs because of nitrogenous fertilizer. There is a contamination, pollution, nutrient imbalance, and degradation of natural resources. So that's why nitrogenous fertilizers are not allowed. So how the nitrogenous fertilizer cause the contamination, pollution, nutrient imbalance, and the degradation of natural resources? I'll explain here. What is the reason that nitrogenous fertilizer cause all these things? So that's why nitrogenous fertilizer, whether it is urea, ammonium sulfate, ammonium chloride, whatever, are not used in any case. Actually, the nitrogenous fertilizers are produced by the ammonia production. So ammonia production is must for nitrogenous fertilizer manufacturing. किसी भी नाइट्रोजन फर्टिलाइजर को बनाने के लिए अमोनिया का प्रोडक्शन जरूरी है. बिना अमोनिया के कोई भी नाइट्रोजन फर्टिलाइजर नहीं बनता है. and this nitrogen, this ammonia is formed by nitrogen gas in the atmosphere, hydrogen in the gas atmosphere, then this is the ammonia, and this is the industrial process. So this ammonia production is must, and this is the industrial process. Actually this is a Haber-Bosch process, industrial process by high temperature and high pressure, and some catalyst and heavy metals are there. So this is industrial process. So CO2 gas emission is there. So fossil fuels are used. So this is the degradation of natural resources. Here natural resources are degraded, number one. Number two, heavy metals contamination is there, because these are used as a catalyst or as a cofactor, etc. So heavy metal, cadmium, nickel, mercury. Nickel is essential nutrient, but in excess it causes the problem. So heavy metal, so it causes the contamination in soil. So this is the problem with in the first step during the manufacturing. This is the problem, that environment pollution, it is a degradation, then pollution. So in the first process, now look here, this is the fossil fuel, pollution, natural resource degradation, and the soil contamination. So this is the problem in the first step. तो जब हम जैसे ही हम फर्टिलाइजर प्रोड्यूस करते हैं नाइट्रोजन फर्टिलाइजर के लिए, उसके लिए अमोनिया बनाना जरूरी है, और अमोनिया बनाने के साथ फॉसिल फ्यूल यूज होगा, तो उससे नेचुरल रिसोर्सेज जो भी डीजल है, पेट्रोल है, जो भी हम यूज कर रहे हैं रिसोर्स, नेचुरल रिसोर्सेज है, उसका डिग्रेडेशन हुआ, और पॉल्यूशन इन्वायरमेंट में हुआ, CO2 इमिशन होगा, इंडस्ट्रियल प्रोसेस है। फिर उसमें हैवी मेटल्स आती हैं, क्योंकि उसमें कैटलिस्ट यूज कर रहे हैं, दूसरी मेटल्स यूज होती हैं, तो कंटेमिनेशन होगा, क्योंकि फर्टिलाइजर सॉइल में डालेंगे तो सॉइल में आ जाएंगे सारे ये heavy metals, तो soil contamination. Now pollution is there, degradation of natural resources, and the soil contamination. Now in the next step, if we are applying the fertilizer, it is in the industry and in the soil, but when we apply, so this process is very important. When we apply the nitrogen fertilizer, so nitrogen fertilizer may be nitrate or ammonium containing. तो ये आप जान लें कि नाइट्रोजन फर्टिलाइजर के लिए अमोनिया जरूरी है। जो भी फर्टिलाइजर बनते हैं, वेदर इट इज यूरिया, अमोनियम क्लोराइड, अमोनियम सल्फेट, जितने अमोनियम कंटेनिंग है, सब में अमोनिया चाहिए। एंड नाउ द नाइट्रोजन फर्टिलाइजर एंड फर्टिलाइजर्स वी कैन categorize into two, mainly two form. Maybe ammonium, which produce the ammonium ion, and the second produce the nitrate ion. Okay, suppose urea is there, urea is amide form, but urea also provide this ammonium ion after the hydrolysis. So urea also provide. So nitrogen fertilizer may be urea, ammonium sulfate, ammonium chloride, ammonium nitrate, or anhydrous ammonia. So they produce either ammonium or nitrate or both. So urea is NH2CO NH2. Urea formula, remember it, NH2CO NH2. This is the amide form. This is amide form, but this is converted into ammonium. So this urea is also converted into ammonium. Urea also converted by the hydrolysis. Okay. So and this is in the soil. When we apply the fertilizer, then ammonium or nitrate ions are produced. Okay. And if it is producing the ammonium ion, then what would be that? If condition is aerobic, if aerobic condition is there, then it is converted into nitrate by the nitrosomonas or nitrobacter. Nitrosomonas and nitrobacter. It is okay, or maybe used by the plant, and this nitrate may be converted. If it is anaerobic condition is anaerobic. Anaerobic means waterlogging is there. There is deficiency of oxygen. This ammonium is volatilized. High pH, if there is high pH, pH is high, moisture is high, means soil moisture is high. Okay, then this ammonium is denitrified. Volatilized into atmosphere, okay, as a ammonia gas. So this ammonia gas in atmosphere. Okay, so now this is the ammonia gas conversion, and this ammonia in atmosphere concentration increases, and this ammonia is toxic to both high concentration, plants and human, both. In plants, it affects the biodiversity. Ammonia gas is high concentration, it is directly toxic to leaves. So that's why plant growth is affected, number one. Number two, this ammonia gas comes into the soil as ammonium ion, then it produces the soil acidification. This is another problem. So it alters the soil properties. Third, this ammonia increases the susceptibility of the plants to frost, drought and the pathogen. So it means plants are susceptible to disease, frost, drought and abiotic stress. Now the plant health is hampered, is adversely affected. So this is the problem, the biodiversity is changed. So change in biodiversity, it means it is not good for the environment, this ammonia gas. So this is the impact on plants, because directly toxic, number one. Number two, increases susceptibility to drought, frost and pathogen. Number third, it causes the soil acidification. So it causes the biodiversity, is the change in biodiversity. So it affects the species composition in a ecosystem. Then in human, it causes the diseases, lungs disease, irritation, eye, थ्रॉट इरिटेशन. तो जो अमोनिया गैस पड़ती है, आंखों में जलन होती है, गले में जलन होती है, लंग्स में प्रॉब्लम होती है, तो इट अफेक्ट द ह्यूमन डिसीज. सो इट मीन्स द होल इकोसिस्टम, वी कैन से द इकोसिस्टम is adversely affected by this ammonia gas. If you are using the nitrogenous fertilizer, then the ecosystem is affected adversely, plant species as well as human species. Okay, and this ammonia is used by the plant uptake is there. So plant uptake हो रहा है तो कोई problem नहीं है, there is plant uptake, no problem. But this nitrate, okay, this nitrate problem is that this nitrate used by the plant, if they are not used the plant, and there may be aerobic condition or anaerobic condition. If it is aerobic condition, means proper aeration is maintained, then leaching is there, nitrate leaching, and it reaches to the groundwater, and then there is a groundwater contamination. And if this groundwater is used and nitrate is more, then it causes methemoglobinemia. Means this nitrate comes into our bloodstream and combined with the hemoglobin and remove the oxygen. So oxygen transport capacity of hemoglobin reduces and children are susceptible to this problem. It is known as methemoglobinemia, and this is known as blue baby syndrome. This is very particular, and there is a death of children. So groundwater contamination, disease is there. So this is the problem, groundwater contamination. So this is used in those areas where there is a high nitrate leaching. And is there an anaerobic condition? Means there is a high moisture over air, then it is denitrified. It is denitrified. Means it forms the N2O gas. Nitrate, because this oxygen is used by microbes under anaerobic condition. Anaerobic condition में क्या वाटर लॉगिंग हो रही है, पानी भरे हुआ, ऑक्सीजन की कमी है, तो माइक्रोब्स क्या करते हैं, इस ऑक्सीजन को यूज करते हैं. माइक्रोब्स यूज दिस ऑक्सीजन for their respiration. So this nitrogen, this nitrate is converted into this nitrous oxide gas. This is greenhouse gas. This is greenhouse gas, and this is more potential gas as compared to CO2. About 300 times more potential for greenhouse gas, means for global warming. So it causes the global warming. It is responsible for global warming. So impact is global. Here groundwater contamination, disease, blue baby disease, blue baby syndrome. This is toxic and cause a death. So now here is that we see that ecosystem is affected globally. Denitrification, because of denitrification, this nitrous oxide gas is there. Nitrate leaching, groundwater contamination, and in initial start soil contamination with the heavy metal. So these are the problem with the nitrogenous fertilizer, that they are adversely affect the whole system. They affect the groundwater, they affect the soil, affect the environment, species, even human health is also affected by nitrogenous fertilizer because of high concentration of ammonia gas. Another problem is that if there is a surface runoff, then this ammonium and nitrate may reach to the ground, to the वाटर बॉडीज लाइक लैक्स, पॉन्ड्स एटसेट्रा. तो जब रन ऑफ होता है, सॉइल इरोड होती है, तो देन विद द सॉइल दिस अमोनियम नाइट्रेट रीच टू द वाटर बॉडीज, एंड इन वाटर बॉडीज they increase the growth of algae because algae requires the nutrients. So there is a algal bloom. So because of algal bloom, algae use the oxygen dissolved in water. So there is a oxygen deficiency in water bodies because of algal bloom. So other aquatic plants and the other animals and the other creatures are adversely affected. Like fish is adversely affected. तो जब ये रन ऑफ होता है तो उस रन ऑफ के साथ मिट्टी बहती है, उस मिट्टी में ये अमोनियम नाइट्रेट होंगे तो कहाँ हो जाएंगे? पॉन्ड में, लैक्स में पहुंचेंगे, वहाँ फास्फोरस भी पहुंचेगा, दूसरे न्यूट्रिएंट्स भी पहुंचेंगे. तो वहाँ जो एल्गी होती है वो इसको यूज़ कर लेती है, एल्गी की ग्रोथ बढ़ जाती है, और एल्गी जब यूज़ करेगी तो उसके अंदर की ऑक्सीजन को यूज़ कर लेती है. तो वहाँ उस वाटर बॉडीज में ऑक्सीजन की डेफिशिएंसी हो जाती है, तो बायोलॉजिकल ऑक्सीजन डिमांड बढ़ जाएगी, वहाँ ऑक्सीजन कम हो जाएगी. तो जो दूसरे हैं, फिश हैं या एक्वाटिक प्लांट्स, उनको ऑक्सीजन डेफिशिएंसी होगी तो उनकी डेथ होगी. एंड दिस इज नोन एज यूट्रोफिकेशन. सो दिस इज द प्रॉब्लम दैट यूट्रोफिकेशन. Eutrophication is the problem with the nitrogenous fertilizer. Another problem is that this high if you're using this nitrogenous fertilizer, so then nitrogen concentration increases and plant use this nitrogen, and it causes a nutrient imbalance because there is excess of nitrogen, and because of this imbalance, the problem is that the plant use more nitrogen and the succulency of the plant increases. So plants become succulent. So plants become succulent because there is more soluble nitrogen, and because of this succulency there is soluble nitrogen in plant, and insect, disease etc. also require nitrogen. तो नाइट्रोजन ज़्यादा रहेगी, हम डाल रहे हैं, दूसरा न्यूट्रिएंट इतना है नहीं, तो न्यूट्रिएंट इम्बैलेंस होगा, तो प्लांट केवल नाइट्रोजन को लेगा. प्लांट्स में जब नाइट्रोजन जाएगी सॉल्युबल फॉर्म में रहेगी, क्योंकि दूसरे न्यूट्रिएंट्स है नहीं कि वो प्रोटीन में मेटाबोलाइट हो पाए. तो नाइट्रोजन इज नॉट मेटाबोलाइज्ड इन प्रोटीन बिकॉज अदर न्यूट्रिएंट्स आर नॉट अवेलेबल. फॉर द मेटाबोलाइजेशन इन प्रोटीन एनर्जी इज रिक्वायर्ड विच इज प्रोवाइडेड बाय फास्फोरस. एंजाइम एक्टिवेशन इज रिक्वायर्ड विच इज प्रोवाइडेड बाय पोटेशियम, एंड बोथ आर नॉट अवेलेबल इन सफिशिएंट क्वांटिटी. तो दूसरे न्यूट्रिएंट तो सफिशिएंट क्वांटिटी में है नहीं, केवल नाइट्रोजन ही है, एंड नाइट्रोजन इज नॉट मेटाबोलाइज्ड इन प्रोटीन, इट रिमेन इन soluble form. So it causes the succulency and it remain in soluble form like amino acids. And then there is more disease and insect problem. So plants become susceptible. So this is the more attack, disease insect. So this is the reason when we apply more nitrogen, there is more disease in insect. In crops, particularly in rice crop, we apply more nitrogen, there is more disease. So nitrogen is positively correlated with the disease and the insect. So this is the problem. Another problem is that we are applying the fertilizer, then this nitrogen is available to weeds also. So weeds problem, weeds are more efficient than the crop. So the weeds problem increases. So beside this problem, eutrophication is there, more susceptibility to disease and insect, more problem of weeds. It means ecology is disturbed. So this is the problem with the nitrogenous fertilizers. So when we apply nitrogenous fertilizer, we can apply any other fertilizer like another phosphatic fertilizer, potassium fertilizer, sulfur fertilizer. Such type of problem is not occur. Only industrial process is responsible for the environment pollution and the soil contamination. But with the nitrogen fertilizer, along with the soil contamination and industrial process, this is the special problem with the nitrogen fertilizer. Plant succulency, weeds problem, this ammonia gas production, this nitrous oxide gas problem, this nitrate leaching. So first principle of health is affected. Because number one, principle of ecology, that is affected. Fairness, there is no fairness with respect to the process with the environment. And principle of care, we have to use the judiciously resources so that present and future generations are safe with the care. So there is no care because natural resources are degraded. So all the principles are violated. So जितने भी principle हैं, 4 principle हैं, उनका violation होता है. और जो हमारा concept है organic का, to produce the healthy food, it is not achieved. To maintain the ecosystem, it is not achieved. Sustainability, it is not achieved. So whole system is affected adversely with the nitrogenous fertilizers. So that's why in organic farming, nitrogenous fertilizers are not allowed. So this is the problem at all levels, whether it is a soil, whether it is a air, whether it is a plant, whether it is a soil, whether it is a groundwater, whether it is a human, animal, fish, all the species are adversely affected with the nitrogenous fertilizer. So it doesn't mean that we have not to use this nitrogenous fertilizer in conventional farming. इसका मतलब हमें conventional farming में भी nitrogenous fertilizers को use नहीं करना चाहिए. कन्वेंशनल फार्मिंग में हमें जुडिशियसली यूज़ करना चाहिए कि वो एक्सेस ना हो. वी हैव टू मेंटेन कि हमें इस तरह से करना चाहिए कि लीचिंग स्प्लिट एप्लीकेशन करें, लीचिंग ना हो, एरोबिक कंडीशन मेंटेन करें ताकि ये डिनाइट्रिफिकेशन ना हो. एनरोबिक कंडीशन मेंटेन रखेंगे तो अमोनिया वोलेटिलाइजेशन भी नहीं होगा और ये कन्वर्जन होगा. देन देयर विल बी प्रॉपर अपटेक. सो इट मींस इन कन्वेंशनल फार्मिंग वी हैव टू मेंटेन द प्रॉपर एरोबिक सॉइल कंडीशन एंड द स्प्लिट एप्लीकेशन सो दैट वी कैन मिनिमाइज. बट जो सॉइल कंटेमिनेशन है वो तो होगा, जो एयर पोल्यूशन है वो तो होगा. दैट्स वाई वी आर शिफ्टिंग फ्रॉम कन्वेंशनल टू नेचुरल ऑर्गेनिक फार्मिंग सो दैट दिस एडवर्स इफेक्ट कैन बी मिनिमाइज. सो these are the reasons why we do not apply nitrogenous fertilizer in organic farming. Thank you very much.